Hello, hello, I'm Jennifer Nascimento with English Outside the Box, and you're watching 5 Minute English. Welcome back to 5 Minute English, and welcome if you're new. If you're busy or you're on the go, these videos are perfect for learning important information in a small period of time. Today, we're going to cover something that I hear mistakes in so often: do and make. Now, do and make can be confusing, often because of the native language of the student. In many languages, like Spanish and Portuguese, the word is the same. So it's confusing because in English, they're very different. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between do and make, and review common expressions, as well as big-time mistakes. As with all of these 5 Minute English videos, you can read the full blog English lesson at www.englishoutsidethebox.com/blog. We're going to start with the differences between do and make. Do is going to be used when we talk about completing an activity or just performing a task. For example, I need to do my homework. We can also use it with types of cleaning activities because these are jobs or activities that we need to complete. For example, my husband always does the dishes and I do the laundry. Think about exercising. When we exercise, we have to complete a series of movements, so we do exercises. Now we can compare that with the word make. Make is going to be used when we talk about constructing or creating something, often with our own hands. For example, I'm going to make dinner or I'm going to make a cake. I'm going to create this thing. It doesn't exist and I need to use my hands to cook and create this thing. If we built or constructed something, again, we can use make. For example, my husband made our kitchen table. He constructed it, he created it. So those are going to be the main differences between do and make. Remember, do is when we want to complete or perform a task, a job, or an activity, and make is when we are creating or constructing something, often with our hands. It's not always that easy though, because there are a lot of fixed expressions and collocations. That means there's a lot of words that are used often with do and words that are used with make that don't necessarily follow the definitions I gave. Luckily, I'm here to give you some of those expressions. Here are some expressions that are always used with do. Do research. Do business with someone. Do a favor or do someone a favor. Do work, like do good work, do a good job, or do your hair and your makeup. Now let's look at some examples with those expressions. I do a lot of business with international clients. I had to do research on language for my final thesis project. I did my mom a huge favor last week. I helped her paint the house. My students always do a good job. And finally, before we go out, we often have to do our hair and do our makeup. Here are the expressions that we use with make. To make a mistake, make effort, make a difference, make a choice, make a decision, make sense. And finally, we have to make someone feel a feeling. So we have make plus someone plus feeling, like make someone happy. Of course, let's look at some examples. Many students make mistakes with do and make. However, if they make an effort, it's easy to learn and they will improve. Volunteers often make a big difference in various charities and organizations. This means that they cause a positive change. I made a choice to move to a new city. I made a great decision when I married my husband. Is this information making sense? And finally, you make me so happy when you learn with me and watch my videos. We're going to wrap up today's video by going over some common mistakes. These are mistakes that I often correct with my students in our online Skype classes, so I want to teach them to you to make sure you do not make these mistakes. So you are never going to make a barbecue. You are going to have a barbecue. For example, I'm having a barbecue next week. The same applies for the word party. You don't make a party, you have a party. I'm having a party next week. Next, you never make a question. You ask a question. For example, the teacher asks the students a question. Another mistake is you never make a road trip. A road trip is when you go on a long journey in a car, and this is something that you take. For example, next year I'm taking a cross-country road trip. And finally, you do not make a test or an exam. You take a test or you take an exam. For example, last year I took a very important test. All right, and that wraps it up for our 5-minute English video today with common expressions and mistakes with do and make. Remember, you can head to the blog now, EnglishOutsideTheBox.com/blog, to read this full lesson, see the examples and details you heard in this video. You can also see practice sentences, fill in the blanks, and discussion questions to get you using and understanding this language even more. If you're new here, then I'd love to tell you about additional ways to learn with me in English Outside the Box. If you're interested in taking your English skills to the next level, you can sign up for online Skype classes to improve your conversational skills. Private Skype lessons can also review advanced grammar, pronunciation, TOEFL or academic test prep, and other skill areas. You can learn more about online Skype lessons at EnglishOutsideTheBox.com/learnenglish. I hope you learned so much today. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe. Every Tuesday, new videos are posted.